Alright, peace, 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 beautiful souls. My name is Saleh, and I am your host on this channel, brought to you by Celestial Alignments. Now, today I wanted to hop on here and make this video concerning shadow work, you feel me? Exactly what it is, and why it's important to practice, for what I'm saying. Alright. So ultimately, when we think of shadow work, we're thinking of the moon. You feel what I'm saying? We're thinking of the moon, but I also feel like we're also thinking of Mars, but it's like Scorpio energy, Mars. You feel what I'm saying? So those of you who are astrological, you'll know what I'm talking about. But those of you who aren't, let me break it down for you. So in astrology, the moon deals with like the inner realms. It deals with the emotions. It deals with the origin story, aka the childhood, the upbringing, and the processes of gestation that you go through, that you've gone through. You know what I'm saying? So it's like how you were birthed, and then how you were nurtured, etc., etc. And so that's the moon. But then, Mars is a planet that's separate, and its manifestation is kind of polarized to the moon, in the sense that the moon is all about nurturing and caringness, but then Mars is all about aggression and war and like rape and violence, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So they're very polarized. But it's like when you're dealing with shadow work, you have to understand that in so many ways, it's like an internal battle, I want to say. And I also want to bring this up. The reason why I brought up Mars is because, Mars deals with surgery. You feel me? Anytime you're cutting things up to remove things, you feel what I'm saying? And any form of surgery is ruled by Mars. But it's like when you're doing shadow work, it's surgery, you feel what I'm saying? But I incorporated the moon because the moon deals with the mind. It deals with the psyche. You feel me? Like a lot of people don't know this, but like the term lunatic, right, comes from Luna, which is another word for the moon. But anyways, so shadow work ultimately is the working with the hidden aspects of the self. You feel what I'm saying? So before shadow work can even like begin, or rather I should say where shadow work begins is when you start to see and become aware, we can even say, of your thoughts. But from a perspective where you are the observer and you're looking in at, those aspects of you, we can say, which would usually be behind the scenes, is what I'm saying. And so it is that surface, but shadow work does most definitely go deeper. But I would most definitely say that's where it begins. Like before you can truly get into working your shadow, doing shadow work, you first have to establish an internal a dialogue, I guess we can say, with the self, or a greater awareness where it's like you're not the thinker, but you're the observer of the thinker. You feel me? You're observing your thoughts. You're observing your ego. You know what I'm saying? Alright. But yeah, it's essentially initially important that you establish that dialogue between your conscious mind and ultimately your subconscious mind. You know what I'm saying? And so when you have that ability to observe your thoughts, in a sense, you're becoming conscious of that which is typically subconscious. You feel what I'm saying? Now, with shadow work, in so many ways, it's a peeling and a revealing of the different layers that make up your identity, your being and everything like that. But I feel the primary reason why it's even called the shadow and it's termed shadow work is because it stems from our traumas, from our traumatic experiences. Those experiences that traumatized us, scarred us, but we nevertheless, because of our lack of tools to process, we push them into the shadow. You feel what I'm saying? We push them to the side and we continued to move along. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like these experiences that we have, these traumatizing experiences that have been normalized in this world that we live in, you feel what I'm saying? Like, they, in of themselves, because they were registered for starters, right, within your mind as a memory, it exists as a piece of like, a piece of energy, you feel me? And this is, oh look at, that's cool, there's a bug up there. But anyways, Gemini, you know, I get distracted so easily. But yeah, you know, as I was saying though, you know, what was I saying? Dang, that sucks. I really forgot my train of thought. Okay, if it's meant to come to me, it will come to me. You feel what I'm saying? That thought. But anyways, it is an aspect of us, you know, that we, in a sense, due to our inability to process it, we push to the side. And so that aspect of us, in a sense, still exists. You feel what I'm saying? That traumatized little boy or girl who had that experience, you know, within the mind still exists. It's like when we are traumatized, when we go through traumatic experiences, and we don't have the tools to process them, it's like those tools, I mean, not tools, those experiences, they in a sense put a stamp, you feel me, on the timeline of our life, if that makes sense. In the sense that we mentally pause, you know, we mentally put a stop, and mentally, emotionally, sexually, or whatever it may be, you feel me, we stop growing, you feel what I'm saying? And it's like, it's until we go back and deal with that little Samantha, you feel what I'm saying, from 13 years ago, right, who like, I don't know, you know, had a crazy traumatic experience, and because she didn't know how to deal and process with that traumatic experience, she chose to live within like her woundedness, you feel what I'm saying, in the sense that there was no healing of the scar, but a continual moving through life where Samantha has to continue to try and protect this scar. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, it's crazy, but it's like we literally go through stuff in life, and then we stop ourselves from growing beyond that thing. It's like we identify with that traumatized aspect of us, you know. And this is why shadow work is important. And like, you can even say that shadow work is like another term for like, you know, I don't know, like counseling, therapy, you feel what I'm saying, psychological work. But it's kind of deeper than that. But it's like, technically that's what it is, because we're dealing with the mind, you know. And so, because that is what happens with trauma, we get traumatized, then we in a sense stunt our growth mentally, emotionally, sexually, spiritually, you know. Yeah, you feel me? And I think certain traumas, you know, they can stop us from growing physically too, but it's like trauma stops you from growing, you know what I'm saying? And so it's because that you stop, it's important for you to, you know, you mentally stop growing. It's important for you to like create a dialogue with yourself. You feel what I'm saying? Create a dialogue with you and get to better understand yourself. Get to better understand how you talk to yourself. You feel what I'm saying? And gain a greater awareness of your internal atmosphere, your internal ecosystem. You feel me? The path in which inertia is going on within you. You feel me? The law of inertia, right? We understand, which states that a object in motion will stay in motion. And I guess I could have termed that differently, but what I meant when I said the law of inertia and how it's manifested within you is in the sense that, there are continual productions. You feel me? There's a continual production within us. You feel what I'm saying? Of chemicals and things like that. And it's when we speak of inertia, it's your body is already comfortable, with damn, the term is escaping me. A concoction, you feel me, of a set amount of different chemicals, you feel me, and these chemicals are reflective to your mental atmosphere, that is your thoughts and everything. You feel what I'm saying? In the sense that certain thoughts produce certain hormonal chemicals. You feel what I'm saying? They are more promoters of the higher positive emotions. But then other hormonal chemicals are associated with the more dense negative emotions. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but it's at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about, creating a sustainable internal atmosphere and gaining a simple awareness that your body is technically a laboratory, and the means of which, the chemical concoctions within the body are manifested are according to your thoughts. You feel what I'm saying? So it's you control your internal chemical laboratory through your thoughts. But I don't want to go too deep or anything like that, about with this, because we don't have to. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, once that internal dialogue is established, then you have to technically really make it a habit. You feel me? To continuously revisit your inner world, but from a perspective where you're not engaging as the thinker, but you're engaging as the observer. You feel what I'm saying? And it's just a gaining a gaining of awareness about the psyche and about the mind and about the self. You know what I'm saying? And it's you want to make everything that was once your shadow, that was once unknown to you, known. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, it's all about knowing thyself, And I can't speak about knowing thyself without bringing up the birth chart. You know what I'm saying? For centuries now, people, philosophers, you know what I'm saying? New thought people, whatever you want to call it, have relied upon astrology to gain a greater awareness of the self. You know what I'm saying? So 100% most definitely, when we're talking of shadow work, you most definitely want to integrate as many, tools in your inventory as you possibly can. You feel what I'm saying? And astrology is definitely one of those tools. Another thing is getting into a habit of meditation. But this just ties back into that visiting the internal realm and engaging from a point of the observer and not the thinker. You really want to get into a habit. You feel what I'm saying? And then once you do so, then you can start, once you're no longer engaging but you're observing, then you can start to pick certain things which you are observing, and intentionally go into it, but from a perspective of construction, from a perspective of processing it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the default mechanism that we utilize to think, it's very random and sporadic. You know what I'm saying? In the sense that a lot of people don't really think, in the sense that they allow external stimuli to dictate, where their thoughts go. Like, they hear noise and that gets them riling up. They smell something, they see something, they hear something. And so a lot of people's thoughts are being fed to them through their TVs, you know what I'm saying? So that's like the default. Now, that's the default, you feel me? And there's really no power in that. Now, the more conducive way of thinking, it's not really practiced by many, because it's so much easier not to think than to actually think, you know what I'm saying? But it's constructive thinking, you feel me? Constructive thinking ultimately is thinking, but with an objective at end, you feel me? So using thoughts, but from a perspective of, okay, I'm thinking these thoughts right now because I'm trying to build a mental thought construct, a mental thought structure. From the perspective of, like, for example, you feel me? I am trying to manifest $100, let's say, you know what I'm saying? So I can utilize constructive thinking to get me there. And so constructive thinking is technically me being focused and me choosing only thoughts that are conducive with me getting to, like, that $1,000 to that $100. You feel what I'm saying? Or $1,000, whatever it may be. In the sense that I don't know what it's termed. I think it's like the articulate. God, fuck, I can't even say it. I don't know. It's like the something of architectary system or something like that. You feel me? But it's a system within our brain which is responsible for blurring everything out that is irrelevant to our focus and highlighting that which is getting our attention. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like the word of it, the name is on my tongue, but it's not coming out. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, so even from a psychological perspective, it's very potent in helping you attain that which you desire. But anyways, yeah, you definitely want to become a constructive thinker, a person who thinks with a outcome, with a goal at end. You feel what I'm saying? Because as long as you're a person who is stuck within the default mechanism of thinking, the sporadic and the randomness of thinking, then in a sense you will be like in a loop. You feel what I'm saying? Pretty much a loop, like, yeah. So yeah, it's important that you get into a habit of not only becoming aware of your thoughts from the observer's perspective, but learning to direct your thoughts to a more harmonious place. And that's really where the shadow work is. The shadow work is taking the darkness and realigning it and recreating new energy, we can say. Bringing light to the darkness, you know what I'm saying? It's interesting how we call it shadow work, but I've noticed that a lot of shadow work is like you going into, like, the darkness, but then you learning to integrate light, you know what I'm saying? Because within the darkness. And so then getting rid of the darkness through illumination, you know what I'm saying? And enlightenment. And this reminds me of the statement that there really isn't a source of darkness, right? There isn't a flip that you switch to get darkness, right? You actually But there's a flip for light. So you actually turn off the light. And the absence of light allows, the absence of light looks like the presence of darkness. That's what I'm saying. So with that science, we can understand that with darkness, you don't try to get rid of it because it doesn't really even exist. It's an illusion. That's what I'm saying. Damn. But that concept is deep, so let's not even get into that. And so you can't really get rid of darkness by trying to collect it and then move it elsewhere, but you actually get rid of darkness by shining a light upon it. You know what I'm saying? And so like a lot of traumas, that are for some reason coming to mind, but that are also very destructive, are like those traumas that are, dealing with like sexuality. That's what I'm saying. And so, I feel like someone, who was traumatized with, who was sexually traumatized, you feel what I'm saying? Like for them, it's like due to that trauma, they may have a darkness surrounding their body, a fear that they're unsafe, you feel what I'm saying? And so it's like for them, their shadow work could look like them getting familiar with their bodies, like appreciating their bodies and learning to start to feel safe within their bodies again, you feel me? But this is like an internal work that they have to do themselves that no one outside of them can do for them, you feel what I'm saying? But it's like in the process of them slowly integrating that light, you feel me, of safetyness, I guess we can say, of reconditioning themselves and coming into an awareness that they actually live in a safe universe, you feel what I'm saying? And getting into that awareness and realization, it would be their shadow work, you know what I'm saying? But it's like a lot of us, we've been programmed, conditioned to believe, even from like our sense perspectives, and I feel like especially because of our senses, especially because of the things that we see in this world, we're traumatized, you feel what I'm saying? In the sense that, we, in of ourselves, are like a part of something greater, you feel what I'm saying? And our connection with that greater thing, that divinity, makes us divine as well, you feel me? And so it's like within our divine energy, we have, every right to be here, to be safe, to be loved, all that good stuff, you feel what I'm saying? But then it's like this physical world, you feel what I'm saying, in of itself is like death and decay. You feel what I'm saying? Like how do I, it's like time exists within the physical world, like time doesn't exist outside the physical world, right? And then we can even look into like the law of relativity, right, which states that, what does the law of relativity state? I straight up forgot, but anyways, I know that, this law states that anything that moves, beyond the speed of time no longer is influenced, my bad, anything that moves beyond the speed of light is no longer influenced by time and has a shortened, like, I straight up forgot, I forgot, I really forgot, but the message I was trying to bring home was that, like, those things moving at the speed of light are outside of time. That's what I'm saying. And so with that being said, like, time is a concept of this material world. And so, of course, as material beings, it's important for us to integrate with our material identity. You know what I'm saying? But the issue here is, it's like in our integration with our material identity, we shouldn't neglect our spiritual identity, our original archetype. You know what I'm saying? In the sense that we are spiritual before we are material. You know, it's actually the spirit or the soul within you that manifested and formed this physical body. You feel me? I hope this all makes sense. But it's like, yeah, so with all of that being said, that identification is important. The understanding and awareness of your multidimensionalityness, right? Your multifacetedness. You feel what I'm saying? And starting to plug in to a higher power. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's like with shadow work, you feel me? It's important that you have a source of light. You feel what I'm saying? And I really like how Abraham Hicks, those of you who know her, who follow her know, she talks about like the faucet, you feel me? Or the sink, the faucet, it's a faucet, She talks about the faucet of wellness, and the way that she explains it is like that, the source of all things is really like joy, positivity, creative energies, you feel me? And that's like the source, right? You feel what I'm saying? But the way she breaks it down is, as we go through life, we get pulled into life and away from the source, you feel what I'm saying? And thus we in of ourselves get into this negativity. But then she explains how right once we make a conscious decision to plug back into the source, you feel me, to plug ourselves back into like the faucet of wellness. I forget what term she used, but she did not say faucet, she said something else. But she said once we make that decision, you feel me, then it's like we align with like the source or like spirit, you feel me? It's like there's so many different names for it, but it's at the end of the day the same thing, you feel what I'm saying? And so it is important, to do that as well. But furthermore, like, look, it's like, because the mind, in a sense, constructed the body, you feel what I'm saying? It makes no sense to make the mind a servant of the body, you feel what I'm saying? And the body, the master of the mind, you feel me? Like, that doesn't make sense, that's backwards. And so it's like, we should do everything in our powers to make our mind, you feel me, the master, you feel me? Or allow our mind to be the master, you feel me? And allow the body to be a servant. And I say this because it's like there's things we can do, concerning our body, you feel what I'm saying? Like eat more aligned, dietarily speaking, you feel what I'm saying? And that doesn't even mean like having to go vegan and plant-based, even though, that is like the best option, you feel what I'm saying? Then I can't even say that, because I believe that we're all different, and like there's certain things I need in my diet that other people don't need. Like, for example, I eat very little, I don't really eat that much. I eat very minimal. And so I don't need to eat that much, you feel me? And it's like, I have all this air in my chart, and like I have all this mutable energy in my chart. Like I have all this air and like fire. Like I don't have any earth or water. You feel me? And earth or water are more dense, you feel what I'm saying? But it's like, because my archetype is light like that, it's like it's good for me to fast, you feel me? I feel like I need to fast. So I can't really say that, oh, there's one diet that's like the best alternative, because yeah, I don't even want to get into that right now. But there are things we can do, right? Like eating more conscious, eat more consciously, eat for your body, you feel what I'm saying? What I'm saying, like eat things that will give you life, for instance. And so by doing that, you're giving yourself your vitality, you know what I'm saying? in the sense that we very much do live in a world, where it's like there's so many things that are like taking our vitality away from us. You know what I'm saying? And we're being conditioned to be like numb. You know what I'm saying? To be like weak. You know what I'm saying? To be like dumb. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, don't at least try, you feel me, and give an effort, you feel me, to go against and rebel against that construct by doing things like taking care of yourself and thus increasing your vitality. You feel me? Because it's like when you lack energy and you lack life, you can't really do anything, you feel what I'm saying? And so doing things like breath work, another example. And learning the simple breath works, you feel me? Like, I'll share one with you guys right now. So what you want to do is you want to like breathe deep, and as you're breathing deep, expand like your chest outwardly, but it's like an exaggerated breath, you feel me? But you're like breathing all the way, and you're like opening yourself up to feel the capacities of your lungs, you know what I'm saying? And so you want to fill up your lungs all the way. And then once they're filled up all the way to the limit, you know what I'm saying? That's where you're aiming for. Then you want to release. And as you're releasing, you also want to contract. So it's like a expand, contract type energy, where you're breathing with all of your body. Because you actually do breathe through like your pores and like your nipples and all these other things, you feel what I'm saying? So yeah, you're actually breathing with more than just your nose. You feel what I'm saying? But you want to do like, you want to start off, right? Take 10, reps, right? 10. And then once you're done, at the end, you want to go to, you want to fully exhale. You know what, my bad. To do this, to fully exhale, go to 30. Don't do 10, do 30. So to go all the way to 30, right? Expanding and then contracting and then expanding and then contracting, exaggerating it like. But make sure it's natural and it's nothing forced, you feel me? But like naturally, you just go into your capacity and then release it, you know what I'm saying? And then once you get that, go to 30, and then once you do 30 of those, then you want to exhale all the way. And then once you've exhaled, just stop breathing, you know what I'm saying? And so what you are doing when you do this, you are cleansing your body for starters, but you're also eliminating more like carbon monoxide. Yeah, carbon monoxide or dioxide. I think it's dioxide or monoxide. I don't even know. But you're releasing that carbon from your lungs, carbon monoxide, dioxide from your lungs. And so, right, you release that, and then by holding it, look, because you just did those 30 reps, those deep breaths, your body at this moment has an excess amount of oxygen. Like all that oxygen you just intook, your body's not going to use all of it. And so by holding your breath and having your lungs empty because you exhaled before you held your breath, you're now training your lungs to be more sufficient at assimilating, at like taking in oxygen. You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. And so, in this breath work exercise, right, it helps ultimately increase the oxygen within your blood. And it's like oxygen is very important and is very essential. And, we also need nitrogen, and like we get nitrogen from the air that we breathe as well. You feel what I'm saying? And nitrogen, right, it's used in cars to help them go faster. You feel what I'm saying? But like nitrogen, it's a chemical which our brain, it can receive immense amounts. It's an element, right, I should say. It's an element, right, which our brain can receive a great amount of mental energy from, like power, thinking power. But I think it's just energy in general. But I do know that the brain can consume nitrogen like crazy. But anyways, so yeah, as you're doing these deep breath works and you're bringing in this oxygen, it's like the pH of your blood starts to change, you feel me? Like the whole chemical structure of your body starts to change. And so then your nervous system, right, it gets tuned into a more higher frequency, we can even say, because now all of a sudden you have all this energy, right? We have to understand that the breath, it's like it's like considered life force in the East, for example, right? In Eastern um, like philosophy, right? Eastern philosophy, it's the breath of life. You feel what I'm saying? But like, yeah, so it's very important. It's very vital, and it's like when you stop breathing, you can go days without eating, without drinking water, but you can only go like minutes without breathing. You feel what I'm saying? So think about what happens when you intentionally allow yourself to receive an abundance of oxygen. You get more energy. You feel what I'm saying? And so, yeah, definitely do that. Another thing is like exercising. You feel me? When you work out, it's like energetically even, you're allowing all the stale energy to, in a sense, to be shaken up, you feel me, and remove again, you feel me, and then things are allowed to flow. It's like what you have to understand is like what you're doing physically is also happening spiritually, mentally, emotionally, you feel me? It's like a domino effect, you feel what I'm saying? But like yeah, you want to get into all of these different things, like being more attentive to the way that you're eating, you feel me? Because like the food we consume, not to mention, it's also information. It's like DNA, you feel what I'm saying? And if it's synthetic, it's still information. Yeah, because everything holds a vibration. But yeah, DNA. Most of us are consuming DNA, right? From plants, from animals. Like that has information within it as well. And it's like those animals, right? But you can look into this your own time. It's like cell memory. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want to look into. Scientific discovery that our cells themselves hold memory. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, yeah, you definitely want to get into all those things because those things are gonna help you get into a healthier place of mind. You feel me? And they're gonna allow you to have more energy as well. You feel me? And so, like I said earlier, don't allow your body to be the master to your mind. Make sure that your mind is the master and your body is the servant. And so by doing these things, like getting better at eating, like working out, you feel me, like meditating, and like redirecting your attention from your senses to your internal world. All of these things, you're making your body the servant, and it's no longer the master. You feel me? And so I went through this. You feel me? When I was like 16, but because when I was 14, I got shot in the chest, right in here. Here are the scars I like to show. You can't even see it. I mean, you can't really see it no more, but it's like, you feel what I'm saying? Y'all can see that, right? Yeah, so those are the scars, you feel what I'm saying? And so like, I had to go through my deep path of healing, you feel what I'm saying? And so, yeah, for me, going through that, like, I was semi-paralyzed and all these other things. Like, I really had to get my body on board with the fact that it was no longer the master, you know what I'm saying? And like I got into things like eating healthier, working out, and that was how I was able to like revitalize myself, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like that's definitely important, in shadow work. Allowing the mind to be the master and the body the servant, you know what I'm saying? Because also, you guys, like a lot of your trauma, most of your trauma, if not all of your trauma, is stored within your body because you get traumatized through your body more than anything else. You know what I'm saying? And so, with all that being said, it's like a lot of shadow work and a lot of release is within the body. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, and the result of releasing, those energies from a psyche perspective is that you start to experience new like physical vitality, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that pretty much breaks down like shadow work, you know what I'm saying? What it is, right? And how to get into it and why it's beneficial, you feel me? But yeah, that pretty much concludes this video. Thank you guys for watching. Definitely subscribe, and yeah, like the video too, share it. You never know who needs to hear this, you know what I'm saying? Alright, peace, peace, peace.